Hey everyone, Debbie here from emotionallysensitive.com. So if you're like me, understanding the science behind the symptoms we experience so that they're not so mysterious can make them less scary, more manageable, and easy to cope with. So I wanted to give you this little nugget of wisdom about one of the symptoms that people sometimes experience when they're having dissociation, derealization, depersonalization, whether from extreme anxiety and panic, stress, borderline personality disorder, PTSD, wherever it's coming from. One of the things that people sometimes experience, and I know I have myself, is this feeling of overwhelm when outdoors, that just everything seems like too much and the visual stimulation is just too intense and everything just seems, oh my gosh, there's so many trees and this is such a big space that I'm looking at. And it can be really overwhelming for the person that suffers from this because it's just ordinary things. It's spaces you've probably seen before a million times, trees you've seen before a million times. So it doesn't make sense on a logical, rational level. So why is it happening? Now, our first default might be thinking we're going crazy or thinking that something's wrong with us. And that's understandable because when things seem unreal or distorted or just, odd, it can feel that way. But what's actually happening is that when we get anxious, think back to our ancestors, especially our more primitive ancestors who had to be on red alert all the time for danger and would go into fight, flight, or freeze response in order to survive. So that anxious state that puts you on edge so that you can survive and protect yourself. And when this would happen, it would often happen at night because they were more susceptible and more vulnerable in the dark. So what would happen? Their eyes would dilate and their pupils would get bigger. And what happens when that occurs? More light can come in so they can see better. Guess what happens to us as modern day humans in broad daylight when we go into fight, flight, or freeze for modern day reasons? Our pupils also dilate. They get bigger. What happens? We're taking in more light, which causes that feeling of overstimulation from taking in all that, what feels like extra visual stimuli. So isn't that kind of neat? There's people coming to the park. Isn't that kind of neat to have that information and understand that it's not that you're going crazy? It's actually your body's healing mechanism, safety mechanism, survival mechanism at work. So I'm doing a free workshop this Friday on triggers, actually conquering triggers when you have BPD traits, and we'll briefly talk about dissociation in there. But I want to invite you all to come. Go click on the events page so that you can reserve your spot. Don't worry if you can't make it there to the live event on Friday. Everyone who registers will get a link to the recording. So I encourage you to sign up, and we'll talk soon. Hope this was helpful to you. Bye for now.